Ever feel like, life's got you flipping through a script, and not one you picked out either?
Right, like someone else is calling the shots.
That's Book Theory Blue in a nutshell.
And let me tell you, this theory is a wild ride.
We're diving into the writings of Rory Pendleton. The guy, he's got this way of mixing personal stories, his own life, with some deep philosophy.
Oh, and a good dose of conspiracy theory thrown in there, too. Enough to make your head spin.
You got that right. What's so fascinating about Rory's work, though, at least to me, is how he takes this huge concept, this idea that our lives are already written out.
Predetermined.
Yeah, exactly. And he somehow makes it, well, personal.
It's like he's saying, hey, I'm just trying to figure this out, too, Come along with me.
Totally. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, so different. This isn't just some dusty old theory, some abstract idea.
It's Rory's life, right there on the pages. Fact and fiction all mixed up.
We're talking excerpts from his work. BookTheoryBlue3.pdf. Trust me, it's a rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah, we'll get lost in there for sure. And he throws in everything, his morning routine, cigarettes, UFOs, you name it.
It's kind of refreshing, that honesty.
Absolutely. It makes you wonder, what is he smoking? But it also keeps it real, you can relate.
Right. Okay, so let's break it down a bit. Life as a book. What's Rory getting at here?
So imagine this. We're all living out a story that's already written. No edits, no do-overs, just turning those pages and seeing where fate, or whatever you want to call it, takes us.
It does make you wonder what's on the last page, doesn't it? But if our lives are already written, does that mean we have no control?
That's the big question, right? How much free will do we actually have? And Rory digs into that with vivid descriptions of his own life, the daily grind, the struggles, those chance encounters. It's relatable. We've all had those moments where we feel stuck, like we're just going through the motions.
Totally. And just when you think you've wrapped your head around this whole predetermined life thing, Rory throws in paradigm theory.
Which basically boils down to this. Our beliefs shape our reality.
It's like that time, and I swear everyone's done this. You lose your keys.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely positive they're in your bag.
But they're not.
Nope. You find them later, like in the refrigerator or something. Because you were so sure they were in your bag, you weren't even open to the possibility that they were somewhere else.
Exactly. We see what we believe. But then Rory takes it a step further. He asks, are these paradigms, these belief systems really set in stone? Can we actually change them and in turn change our reality?
Now that is a question for the ages.
It really is. And we've all had those moments where our entire perspective on something shifts. Suddenly you see things in a whole new light.
Totally. And Rory tackles this head on with this really interesting concept he calls purple beams.
Classic Rory, using these catchy, almost strange terms for these really big, profound ideas.
Seriously.
Yeah.
The first time I read purple beams, I thought, what is he talking about? But it's actually pretty simple. Imagine sending out these little bursts of pure positivity, like little energy beams, out into the world.
Even towards the bad stuff, the negative energy.
Exactly. It's like instead of letting a bad day get you down, you just purple beam your way through it.
It's like a superpower against bad vibes, right?
I could use some of those superpowers, that's for sure.
Oh, me too. But as we go deeper into Rory's story, things get a bit darker.
Oh no, darker how? What are we getting into now?
That's where we meet Mr. Blue. And this whole idea of the onion of unreality comes into play.
Okay, Mr. Blue and an onion. Now, you've got my attention. This sounds serious.
So picture this. Rory's deep into these, conspiracy theories, and he starts to feel this, constant paranoia, like someone's always watching him.
Okay, now that's just creepy.
Yeah, it's a bit unnerving, and that's Mr. Blue. This shadowy figure he's convinced is controlling everything, pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
So where does this onion of unreality come in? It's an interesting image, I'll give him that, but how's it all connected?
Good question. Think of it this way, like layers upon layers of control. Like an onion, right?
Okay, I'm starting to see it.
We're stuck in the outer layer, completely clueless about how the world really works.
Kind of like those moments when you're scrolling through social media and you suddenly realize, wait a minute, am I just seeing what they want me to see?
Exactly. Being bombarded with ads and, perfectly curated content, it's enough to make anyone paranoid.
Makes you question what's even real anymore, right?
Right. And that's the genius of this metaphor, this onion. Rory's tapping into this anxiety we've all felt, that feeling of being overwhelmed by information. Like, how do we know what's true anymore? Who's manipulating us?
Yeah, and it's enough to send anyone spiraling. Which for Rory, kind of does. He has this experience, this breakdown,
The Granville Bridge incident.
intense stuff.
Yeah.
He writes about this suicide attempt, this moment where he feels totally trapped, like there's no escape from Mr. Blue.
It's a turning point in the story. On the surface, it seems like, a cry for help, a sign he's really struggling.
Mental health, for sure.
Absolutely. But Rory presents it in a way that makes you wonder, was it really a suicide attempt? Or did he actually come face to face with something we can't even comprehend?
It's like he's saying, maybe, just maybe, there's more to this reality than we know.
Right. And that some things, some truths, are just too big, too scary for us to handle.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. So Rory goes through this terrifying experience, this brush with the abyss, and instead of letting it destroy him,
He turns it into art,
he makes a movie.
the fictional film, yeah.
Talk about turning a negative into a positive. So
Yeah.
he's basically making a movie about this whole Mr. Blue thing.
In a way, yeah. But he's not being obvious about it. He calls it weaponizing the narrative.
Weaponizing. What does that even mean?
He's hiding messages within the film, secret messages, think like hidden symbols, codes, that kind of thing. He even designs these specific t-shirts that have a hidden meaning if you know what to look for. It's like he's speaking directly to those in the know.
Okay, that is seriously next level. He's leaving clues for those who are ready to question everything. But what about everyone else? What's he trying to tell us?
That's where his idea of awakened versus asleep comes in. It's like he's drawing a line in the sand.
Us versus them.
In a way, yeah. On one side, you have the people who are aware, They see the control, the manipulation, the layers of the onion. They're awake to what's really going on. And on the other side, well, they're sleepwalking. Just accepting everything at face value, oblivious.
Wow. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Which side am I on? Am I really seeing things clearly? Or am I just sleepwalking through life?
And that's the power of Rory's work, right? He makes you question, makes you think. He's not just giving you a theory, he's challenging you to wake up.
To see the world with new eyes.
Exactly. And to recognize the power we have to shape our own reality, to make choices that align with, with what we truly believe.
So how do we do that? How do we become more awake in a world that often feels like it's designed to keep us in the dark?
It's a journey, right? And like you said, Rory doesn't lay out all the answers, but he does offer this powerful mantra, something to hold on to.
Stay purple, my friend.
Purple. Okay, now I'm really lost. What does that even mean? It's like, is Rory messing with us at this point?
A little bit, maybe. He likes to keep us guessing, that's for sure.
You think anyone really knows what's going on in that head of his?
Honestly. Probably not. Even Rory himself sometimes. But that's part of the fun, right? Figuring it out as we go along. But remember those purple beams we talked about earlier?
Yeah, those little bursts of positivity. Exactly. Stay purple. It's like a reminder to hold on to that feeling, that energy, to choose to see the good. Even when everything seems dark and messed up, don't let it get you down.
Okay, I can get behind that. Makes sense. But it also, I don't know, makes you wonder something. We keep talking about awakened versus asleep. So does Rory actually believe there's a group of people like actively trying to keep the rest of us in the dark?
You mean like a shadowy cabal pulling the strings?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Blue more than just a metaphor? Like, is there really a Mr. Blue out there somewhere?
It's definitely a possibility, right? He does hint at this power structure, this elite group that's figured out how to manipulate the system.
The puppet masters.
Exactly. They understand the rules of the game and they use them to their advantage.
And everyone else is just, a pawn in their game. That's a pretty unsettling thought,
It is, but it's also something a lot of people worry about, right? Who controls the information we see, the stories we hear? Who benefits from keeping us in the dark? It's enough to make you want to throw your phone in the ocean and live off the grid.
Tell me about it. I'm starting to get a little paranoid myself.
I see.
But seriously, are we really that powerless? Are we really just stuck in this onion of unreality, never able to see the truth?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think Rory would say it's up to each of us to decide. He's not offering any easy answers, no magic solutions, but he is saying that the first step is awareness.
Okay, I like that. So the first step is to open our eyes, to really see what's going on around us.
Exactly. Once you start to see the layers, once you realize that things might not be what they seem, that's when you can start to peel back those layers.
So it's about becoming more conscious, more critical of the information that's thrown at us. Not just blindly accepting what we're told, but actually digging deeper, asking questions.
You got it. It's about reclaiming our agency, our power to choose what we believe, how we see the world.
That's empowering. And you know what? I think that's really what Rory's trying to do with his work.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
not about telling us what to think,
Yeah.
but giving us the tools to think for ourselves.
And maybe, just maybe, if enough of us start to stay purple, to see through the illusions, and hold on to that positivity, that hope, maybe we can create a different reality, a better reality.
Now, that's a goal worth striving for.
That's for sure. Well, this deep dive into Book Theory Blue, it's been a wild ride. We've gone from questioning reality to uncovering hidden meanings to facing our own fears about control and manipulation.
And through it all, we've hopefully gained a little more awareness, a little more understanding of this crazy, complex world we live in.
We might not have all the answers, but we've got something even better. The curiosity to keep asking questions and the courage to find our own way.
And isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely. So until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and remember, stay purple.